Well, hello everyone, Dylan here. Happy Throwback Thursday, and the rotation leads us to a Bionicle review, and this one's on what you're looking at Carapar, but also Pridak and Takadox of the Barraki from 2007, of course. So on the front of the canister that I have for Carapar, which only entry in this one, but you have the little Bionicle logo, Barraki logo, and picture of Carapar in action shooting his squid launcher, and a little bit of Marinui in the background, and then have his name, and then age recommendation 7 to 16, set number 8918, has 50 pieces, and then Lego logo and Bionicle.com, and of course these canisters, which kind of the most interesting of all, where it's like a rock that you like cracking on that, and then leading to the top, and then a few bubbles around representing that's underwater. And of course, as for Carapar here in particular, have his base piece that is in yellow, carrying on from Toa Nikahuki from the year prior, of course. And also these lids, which in the lid just pop off, also like the Anika. Then onto the back side of it, see Carapar in another position, and the same logos, shooting the squid launcher and how to put them back in the canister, and add for the 5 other Barraki, and then the Kanoka Club points, which are no longer active, and also the usual warnings, barcode, and so on. And that's about it with this canister. And now onto the manuals, which on the front of each one is just kind of the same pick on all of them, but also a few little misprints, like for Carapars, the name's spelled with a K rather than a C, and then Pridax here has red eyes, and the tip of the sword part, which is white instead of red, which you'll see on the actual set later, or soon. Then on the back, advertisement for the Bionicle Heroes game, and also the website from the time. Then ad for Shop at Home and Lego Club. And then advertisement of all the Barraki, and also all the pieces included. And then how to launch the squid launcher, and the do's and don'ts of it, and the last building steps. And now onto the sets. First up with Carapar here, and of course, as usual, the Barraki represents ocean creatures, and in his case, Carapar, or I mean a crab, since of course the name sort of sounding like the shell of a crab, a carapace, but yeah. But then, and of course, also with the Barraki, first sets to be not the same thing for that. And of course, first time trending away from that, but yeah. So now, as for Carapar here, that the feet of which are just the traditional Rockshi feet, but in gray, which first time getting those there for that. And then as you see, that yellow's kind of in his color scheme for that. So just carrying on from Huki Anika the year prior, but then also to Amari Huki later in this year. But yeah. Then as for the legs of it, as you see in this light gray coloring, which is good to use for mocking if you wanted. But yeah. And then as for the thigh pieces, which kind of a bit on the shortish kind of connector bits, and these armor pieces kind of unique on how they are, where it has those 2 holes for little spike bits to go in, and also an axle rod hole to attach on the sides. But however, this armor piece was at one point exclusive to him, but then eventually did come in other sets, like mostly in like silver, and but also in the 2010 Power Miner sets had it in bright blue for that. And then further upwards, as for the body part, which I take this chest plate off, which is mostly a black Inika torso piece and a Metru waist piece in this yellow color, of course. And then this armor piece of which is kind of an odd semi-lightish brown kind of coloring mixed with black then. But however, this chest plate piece did also get used on some other sets from this time, like the Mantax of the Barraki, and then Karzani in green for that interesting dimension. But yeah. And then as for the arms of which was the same kind of armor pieces as the legs part, but on the sides, and then are mostly in light gray Inika limbs. And then this one of which holding on to the squid launcher, of course. But then as for the other arm of which, just a pair have a couple Exoforce clip arm or clip-like hands to hold the sea squids onto. But although what some folks people did is take one of these and put it on the other arm to make it symmetrical. Yeah. And then as for the main weapon, which is this large claw piece, which crab claw, which can swivel in and outwards, and however these blade pieces which quite large and neat for that. Like a couple rigid parts in it and a little tube-like bit on there, and then making this whole thing. Although for a while was kind of exclusive to him, but at least until it came on a few other sets the following 2 years or the following year. But yeah. And then as for the head part, which was at first, which as he kind of an interesting piece for that, where it's the same coloring as the armor, and then also 3 tooth pieces down below, and of course the all new kind of eyeball pieces. Well, that were all new to this year for that, and of course same as with Mantax and Takadox, as you'll see. You then have in red, but other 3 have in blue for that. And also this headpiece of which was not only exclusive to him, but also on Nocturne, which is an upcoming Throwback Thursday, and also in the Toa Terrain Crawler set as well. And then have the mandible pieces that you can open and close like so, which all the Barraki tend to have. And then also, lastly, is also how the squid launcher works like is where you can either have the set holding it, or you can just have it held on your finger like that. So, or you can take the squid in, and then just pull it backwards and launch out. Well, sometimes it does kind of work there when worked on that. And of course, these are one of the weaker projectiles for that, at least until the Thornax launchers in Glatorians. But yeah, and also the whole build of Carapar here, kind of similar to that of Malum in the 2009 Glatorians line, just different coloring and such. So, kind of not sure how that is, but yeah. And that is it with Carapar here. And now on to Takadox, or Pridak, of course, which kind of an interesting build on how it is. Well, since the one with the least amount of pieces, because of all the Barraki, but also the most unique body build for that, which I'll show in a bit. And also which probably representing shark, since of the fins for the back blade and the head part. But yeah. So as for the feet, which are these kind of interesting foot pieces, which were at first exclusive to him, but in this white color, but then also came on Karzani in dark green. And of course, since they slip on like so, and also quite long for that Not unless it was to still give it kind of a ski ice feel to it, since he's supposed to be the ice character of this line of the theme. Or it could represent fins since they're underwater. Then as for the rest of the legs, which are just the rochy limbs in black, and then also these double connector bits, but in white for that. Although I'm not sure why there isn't any armor bit to it. Although the Toametru armor pieces could have been on here, but probably in either white or black, or even light red, but that's just me. I think they should have done so. Like bump up to like 50-51 pieces. But yeah. And then as for the main torso area, which is just a Hordika headpiece and also a traditional hand connector piece and two Barraki waists on there. So there's a bit of a bend in the middle for that. Probably to make his backside more like a tail fin or something. But yeah. Well, since in the mini movie he kind of did that, had his feet put like a tail fin. But yeah. And then on the backside, which is one of these three sword-like blades for that, which I get an up close view of it, which has these two bits to it, and of course the top parts are soft rubber for that. Of course, I think the red parts are probably represent like blood or something. Yeah, probably blood then. But then, although this piece wasn't just exclusive to him, but did also come on Hydraxon and Lisavic as well, but they were in silver. And this year, only time we ever saw the piece being. And as for the arms, which are mostly the upper joints, but done twice, then, so kind of a free range elbow joint, and yes, it does have the electro blade bits, but in white for that, great to use for mocking, and then the Toametru limbs in white, like we saw on Takanuva back in 2003. And then going down to one of the blade pieces, but with the two sea squids held on to it like so. Since, of course, they always have all the Barraki tend to have a spot to hold the sea squids. As for the other armor, which same kind of stuff going on, and of course has the blade part just placed opposite way for that, most likely to make extra room for the squid launcher for that, sort of like how Alex Claw was like underwards with the sea squid on it. And then as for the head part, which is quite a neat one, like you got the blue eyepieces to put in, and also a little mouth with a lot of blood going on to it. And not sure how there's blood in the Bionicle universe, but whatever. And of course have the mandible parts like all the Barraki have. And then as for the backside, which has those two little bits that connect it to there, where unlike all the other ones, the bits or the connector parts go downwards for that. So kind of the most unique part of him is that. But yeah. And so now that's about it with Pridak here. And lastly is Takadox, which is quite tall, and some say he's like the most tallest canister set there is. And I kind of see why. Well, since obviously for the way he's built and all, and also for the longer limbs and such. And also his creatures, and some say he's probably like a praying mantis because of these bits of which, but although I think proper word is mantis shrimp since he's underwater. Now, as for the feet, which are the lower limbs, which are just the feet, and the lower limbs just same as Paraka Vizak the year prior for that, with the dark blue kind of coloring. and does have a lot of these little spike pieces that are in red for that. Although it would have been neat if they were in bright blue for that, but whatever. And also, like Motoro and Nika, the year prior, has the connector parts, but in translucent blue, quite cool. Then the upper limbs of which have these armor pieces that were at first exclusive to him and also Nocturne as well, but these versions of which all glow in the dark, which is very cool for that. And of course, spike bits coming outwards. And although the only other time we saw these in a different color was on Vampra in the 2008 Fantoka as well. And as for the body part, which like some of the others, made of two Vaki waist parts, and just like Elak, so which has a little Technic beam making the whole thing, and also has these two Visorak foots acting as like a back tail part to him. And then also on the backside, another one of the armor pieces as well. And then as for the arms of which are the translucent blue Visorak limbs there. And then also have the Paraka arm pieces in dark blue, and then handing off to these little neat sword-like pieces that come downwards like that, as you have a lot of serrades onto them, and also like two pinholes in there. So luckily these are in silver, but they were recolored with the Toa Terrain Crawler playset later in the year, and also were used on the Karzani set as well. And now lastly is the head part, or I mean, same arm with same stuff, but also with the sea squids onto there, and the squid launcher, obviously. And lastly, for the head, which kind of the most unique for that, which also all glow in the dark for that, and of course a few teeth around it as well, and also kind of representing the xenomorph alien kind of bit. Same thing with Krika in the Mystica line the following year, but of course this which kind of suiting to that. But yeah, it also has the like newer eyepieces in red for that, and of course has the movable mantle parts as all the Barraki have. And then as for the that piece that holds the head on to, but now this which is kind of the one that was from the Slicer / Throwbacks, which but well that's what I have for this, but however yours the witch on, but actually the proper one is one that is like more thick to that, and then was used on Vican in the Mutran Vican set in the Fantoka line. But yeah, well this part's just me. So now all together, and so now onto the final verdict. If I can get these all in. Oh, hang on. Yeah, there we go. So for my overall verdict is I think these are which are quite cool sets for how they are. Like, do get a good variety of various pieces, and also a few good recolors of pieces. Well, on both Takadox and Carapar, of course, but also these Barraki, of which, like for $10 that they were back in 2007, quite good for how that was. But and also Takadox, which kind of impressive for how he was, like a few glow in the dark pieces, and for being quite tall as well. But yeah, and then Pridak, which nice to have a bit of motion in, posability in the middle of the torso part, which we barely see, which doesn't happen on all the Cancer set figures or Matoran figures, but yeah. Or on all the sets. Well, since of course kind of a needle in the haystack for that. And also, so kind of nice to have a few good and also neat feet pieces afterwards. So of course these are which a lot of good pieces that you can use for mocking and so on. And although wish that the places for the sea squids could have been split on other parts of them instead of being in like one single place, but whatever. At least y'all can do that if you wanted, but yeah. And so now, if any of you still have these sets from back in the day, well, I hope you had some good memories of them. And for those of you who haven't and are still looking to get these sets, I'd say definitely get them. eBay, Bricklink, Barraki, or Bricks and Minifigs, whatever. And that's it with this video. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.